And I was like, okay, see, this is what we're not gonna do. Like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is having people just, because I'm not walking around being like, oh, my Vanilla Prince. No, bitch, what the hell?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mikey J Experience. I am Mikey J, and welcome back to another experience on my channel. So today I have two of my friends I've known for over 8 years, just about almost 8 years, I believe so. So we have first my friend Jerome. He actually lives in Japan right now, and he's a teacher. And then we have Collin Dean. He is currently in South Korea, in Seoul, and he is an artist. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys. So the first question is, how did you get into Asian culture?
Oh, wow. That is a good question. I think maybe it started when I was like really young. Maybe I was like 5 or 6 or so. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure it was because I watched Sailor Moon on television. That was like what happened.
Right.
Like, I was pretty sure like I was in my room jumping on the bed saying I was Sailor Jupiter for like a good like couple years. Like, that kind of happened.
Pause.
Okay, so what about you, Collin? Oh my gosh! No, you don't!
Hold up. Wait, I might have mine.
No! Yo, I can't do this because I don't even have one. Y'all about to make me feel bad.
I don't have mine with me. It's somewhere
No!
over here. I'm gonna find it. It's too far away.
I grew up around Asian people, like, since like preschool, and my dad did Korean martial arts when I was 2 years old. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got acclimated into the Korean culture very, like, little by little since that age. So, yeah.
Okay, so I guess for me, I'm from Ohio, so.
Right.
Because I'm from Ohio, and the area where I am at in Ohio, in Toledo, we really don't have that many Asians that were in my area, because I'm from like the urban part of Toledo. So basically, it was just black and white people, and like you might find a few Mexicans who don't speak Spanish. So like when the Asians that were, if they were in Toledo, they would be like in like the richer areas, like in like Sylvania, or they'll be in like Rossford, or they'll be in Maumee, or like they'll be out in those areas. And then if they weren't out in those areas, then they would end up being in like college. So like honestly, I only had a few Asian friends. Like my first introduction into Asian culture was when my senior year in high school. I was doing a lot of The Sims 2. So when I was I got really into The Sims 2. Really into it. I was doing like the series and stuff like that, making machinimas, and I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to become better. And I found this one music video that actually was made by one of Collin's friends. Ironically enough. Yes.
LOL.
Yes. Collin, and this is like his real life friend too. Like he knows him. Like, so it was so random. One of his friends was he made a music video to Chocolate Love by Girls' Generation, and it was with The Sims 2, and he created everything. That got me into it. I got hooked on the song. From the song, I moved on to watching dramas, and then from dramas, I went to other music by Girls' Generation, and then it just kind of took off from there. So, yeah. Okay, so wait. One thing that I would like to ask is, when did you start having interest in Asian men? Or when do you see yourself start having interest in Asian men?
Oh wow, that's an interesting question.
That's a loaded question. What the hell?
Yeah, that is, because really, like, personally for me, like, I am just attracted to like men in general. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have a really good personality and you just like vibe with me, I'm okay with you. Mm-hmm. More so, like, I tend to just date people of color in general. So just if you're POC, I'm like down for it. Mm-hmm. So that's just like me personally. Mm-hmm. So I really can't answer your question the way I think you want me to answer it. So,
Yeah, like, I mean, I first found myself to be attracted to men first, and then it kind of transpired to liking people of, like, POC men. And then because I was, you know, kind of, like, I'm gonna be honest, when I was in high school, like, I did have Asian friends in elementary school, and I low-key had a crush on this girl's dad. But, like,
yeah.
I was really bad. But later on, like in high school, there was a girl that I actually had a crush on, but then I had a crush on her brother at the same time. So I was like, I don't understand what's going on. So they were both Korean, and like, I didn't care, like, for me, like, I don't care about your ethnic background. It's more so how you treat me as a person. But it did help because of the fact that I was learning more Korean at that time, like, because I don't know, like, I'm still learning Korean now, like, it's like a never-ending adventure. But for me, like, because I love languages so much, if I'm able to speak a certain language, like, if I'm able to speak a language that I really enjoy with somebody that I'm interested in, then I tend to be more attracted to that person.
I think for me, like, okay, so because of the fact that I did not grow up with, like, any influence of Asians, I think it was just kind of like, of course, I found myself attracted to men, but it's a weird thing, and this kind of goes a little bit into, like, colorism territory to an extent, but it's just, like, for me personally, it was kind of like, because a lot of the people that I was around, and, like, if they were, like, light-skinned black people, they would be treated a little bit differently. So I caught that really early, and it wasn't a situation in which I was looking for, but I caught it. So then I remember being like, you know, well, I want me a light-skinned person to, you know, date or whatever. And then after that, I was like, I remember when I was in 4th grade, I had this friend who was from Mexico. And he was so cool, and he spoke fluent Spanish. And that was around the time The Next Friday came out. So I was like, ooh, like, I want to be friends with him.
The Mexicans, just saying. Yeah. shout out. That movie definitely, I hear you.
I loved Latinos from that point on. But the problem was, in Toledo, there aren't that many Latinos. So I'm like, okay, you know, like, I love Latin men, and, you know, I love black men. And then my first interest, and it wasn't a situation where, like, I mean, I just excluded anyone else. It was just like I had more of a stronger preference because of the people that were around me, you know? So when I was in my senior year, that was the first time I ever, like, found myself actually actively attracted to an Asian man. And it was only because they showed attraction to me first. So before then, honestly, I mean, I was like, you know, Asian guys are cute or whatever, but they're no Latinos. And then, like, I, like, you know, messed around with, like, one Asian guy. I was like, this is different. Okay, why not? So let's give it a try. And then from that point on, it was Asian men. And then, so it encompassed everything else because I wanted a relationship with this person. We never really got to that point of being in a relationship. So it was kind of a situation where I'm like, well, if I can't be with him, why not try other Asians and different stuff like that? And that's kind of how it opened up for me.
I don't know. I would say, like, that's, like, I totally get it, like, the whole colorism thing, but it's, like, almost in a way, like, when you start looking at it in that scope, some people would, like, start justifying it as, like, fetishism, so
yeah,
it's, like, you kind of have to be able to, like, see the difference between the two. But, like, I totally get where you're coming from. Like, the Midwest is harsh. Like, you know, I'm from Michigan, so I'm, like, right above you. Like,
right. We're, like, an hour away.
Right. Literally, like, an hour away. So, yeah. So, Toledo, right? So, yeah, I get it. Like, there's not so many people. And, like, if you are looking for certain people, you gotta know where to go to be finding them. It's doing the most sometimes in the Midwest, so it's so much easier just to, like, branch out and just be like, all right, you know what? Let me get out of this little small area.
Okay, so you ever get questions or claims by people of your same race that you have yellow fever or that you only date Asian guys?
I mean, I've had maybe like a couple people ask me that before, but that was like when they first found out like I was dating someone from China, and at that time, like when that happened, it was like when I was in university still. So I think it was just very strange for a lot of my like black friends to like even think of me dating someone that wasn't black, or like not like someone that was from the US in general, as if like there are no Asian people that are American born or anything like that. Like I was just like, you guys are stupid. But eventually, like, that whole thing stopped. So, yeah.
I feel like none of my friends ever questioned, like, why I wasn't dating somebody who was also, like, African American or whatever. Like, they kind of knew.
It was like, oh, we just know. We got you.
Because the thing is, like, my sister-in-law, she's Puerto Rican, and my brother has always shown interest towards, you know, people of the Latin community, like, you know, Puerto Rican, Cuban, like, that kind of thing. Like, he's always had a deeper appreciation for that, you know, culture. Mm-hmm. So, like, my dad kind of, like, joked about it when he was, you know, when he was younger, but here we are. My brother's married for, like, I want to say 12 years, and, you know, my nephew, I'm a little congratulations. Well, he's about to be a teenager this year. I'm scared.
Would you date anyone of other races? Why or why not?
Oh, Collin, you want to go first?
I honestly, okay, this. I mean, obviously, I'm open to date outside of my race. Well, it's not really race. My ethnic group. I'm willing to date outside of that, but I've had a really, really weird love-hate relationship with people of European descent. So, not to say, like, if I didn't find anybody who treated me respectfully without me feeling like they were fetishizing me, and I'm pretty sure it goes all around for everybody to feel the same way about anybody who, like, from outside of their ethnic group, like, likes them. But, I don't know, like, it just feels so different when someone of European descent decides that they want to like you.
And then start calling you either Chocolate King or yada yada yada.
Throwing out names, like, that's the one thing I hate. Like, if we are together, like, I've had this before. Like, I was seeing somebody for, like, a brief second. Like, I canceled them and blocked them. Well, I didn't block them, but they think that I still have interest, and I clearly don't. But we were talking, and then he started calling me his, like, little choco, like his choco. And I was like, I understand my Instagram name has that in it, and that's how people sometimes refer to me jokingly, but I knew that that's not what it meant because he explained what he meant by it. And I was like, okay, see, this is what we're not gonna do. Like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is having people just, because I'm not walking around being like, oh, my vanilla prince. No, bitch, what the hell?
Everybody's still in that whole Dennis the Menace lifestyle mentality. Everybody wants the white picket fence and the dog, and yeah, that's part of it.
I want a condo with a window and a fucking cat. Like, give me the exact opposite of what these people want. Because it just, like, for me, it doesn't make sense. Like, I refer to all of my black friends as my chocolate, like, my little chocolates, just because, like, we're in the same community, and
right, like, we kind of get that.
Exactly, and like our skin tone is beautiful. I don't care what shade it comes in; it's beautiful. So it's like, I feel like, for me, in that sense, it's a term of endearment. But it just hits differently when it comes from somebody else. So I can't see myself with a European person per se. I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but there's like a 99.5% chance that it is not possible. So
wow. So where I grew up in a very, like, you know what, I'm not going to say predominantly, it was a white-ass town. I literally was the only black family that lived there. So, me and one other black family, but that he was, like, older than me. He moved after he graduated. But the point is, I totally get it. My mom has literally, like, my mom is very pro-black. She's always been like, don't bring no white bitches in my house. It's kind of like ordeal. But my brother only dates white girls, so this is what he does. But for me, I've had way too many bad experiences with, like you said, like, people of European descent. Actually, I'm going to change that. American people of European descent. I have not had problems with, like, people who I've, like, met and have casually dated who lived in, like, Germany or from, like, France, stuff like that. Like, when I, like, meet international students or people that are actually from those countries, they have, like, a completely different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have an issue like actually dating them because they actually are a little bit more woke and understanding to issues versus American people.
Okay, so I've never had any experience with anyone who was of European descent, American or any other, ever.
Shit.
Ever.
I will give you a clue though. German people.
Like I so like I mean, because like I said before, you know, I grew up in the predominantly like, you know, black side of Toledo, and then I moved to like a bit more like multicultural, whatever the hell. It really wasn't that much more. But when I don't know, like when I got into college, I was just surrounded by a lot of them. A lot of those people were just really not my type. That was the hardest part about trying to date someone during college years, because like I tried to give people chances and it just did not work out. Like a lot of the people that were I'm just gonna say they're white. A lot of the people who were white were just a little too and I'm not really into the thing. Like, you know, if you're walking like a cat towards me, I know. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I tried dating. I tried dating black guys as well. I don't think personally, like if I was not with my fiance, I would want to try to be with other people, but in the relationship ways, I think there would have to be a deeper understanding. And I'm not sure if I would ever see myself in a relationship with someone who did not understand the struggle that I went through. Definitely would want to be with someone who was in, I guess, like, who is a person of color, because we both have similar understandings of where we came from. They don't skip around and avoid, you know, talking about race and stuff like that. What stigma is it that you think that a lot of gay men in general have about black gay men?
Big dicks. Like, I feel like that's all you can say. Like, they either wanted
literally
to
the stigma.
Them, like, they either wanted to choke them out or to give them our BBC. But I'm like,
I was gonna say, like, I can actually tell you, like, verbatim, not verbatim, a rough translation of what I got, maybe like a year ago from somebody. Someone literally sent me a message that literally said they wanted me to gape them open and dig them. And I was like, time out, what? So then I had to, like, literally look at the kanji and, like, try to figure out the meaning behind it. Then I had to ask a friend of mine to actually explain it to me because I couldn't figure it out. And then they're like, oh, this person wants you to basically split them in half, is what pretty much what it said. And I was like, oh, okay.
When I was in Korea, I would probably say it was a very interesting experience trying to date, because my initial experience with Korean men that were not my friends, that was dating people who were not Korean, was always pretty negative. So I had a notion that I did not want to date a Korean guy. But when you get there and you're there for such an extended period of time, you know, after a while you start to buckle, because who the fuck else is around? So you're like, oh, I guess this guy isn't as, you know, annoying looking, or he, like, you know, he's cool enough. I remember I would talk to people and like I was so fetishized. But I wasn't as fetishized by the people that I would go on dates with. Like, those people just wanted to know who I was as a person, which was super cool. But then, like, other people, like, it was wild. They went ahead and there was people who just like, oh, you know, big dick and what else? I was called the N-word by someone on Grindr. And I never used Grindr, like, that much. I just randomly used Grindr one day and there was, like, nigger. And I was like, okay, you're blocked. Like, they thought that shit was funny. And I'm like, okay. Do you have anyone in Asia, or any friends in Asia who are openly and unapologetically gay in public? For me, when I was in Korea, I had one person. Actually, I had a few. I had a few people, and I was in Daegu. And in Daegu is like, you know, it's a bit smaller of a city. It's not like Seoul. Like, you know, Seoul is basically like everyone's fucking New York / California / San Francisco. So, like, in Seoul, you know, being gay is like, oh, you only find them out there. But, like, in, like, Daegu is a bit... And I was in a smaller area, too. So I had some people who were just like openly gay, like super kisuni, like, oh god, like blah blah blah. I had one friend, like these two friends who were just like who were just like what was it? He literally called his other friend. I thought it was cute. He was like Omni, which is like older sister. That's how like they were. So
I've had like some conversations like with some of my friends about it, like my Japanese friends. But it's more like the ones who are like already like super out and they're comfortable with it. They're like much older. They're like in their mid 40s, like early 50s. So they're like pretty chill with like who they are as a person. But like for like the younger ones, they are still kind of like trying to get their career started and like be a normal person in the country. So if you go against the grain in Japan, you are pretty much fucked. Like without me having to say it in a nicer way, that's probably as nice as I can make it. Mm-hmm. You're fucked. Like your life is literally fucked. Like you will get blackballed.
I have a lot of friends who are drag queens.
Oh, the drag scene is really nice in Korea.
Yeah, and there are them that are actually very popular here in the country. Yeah, like obviously if you're being videotaped for your, for your artistry and who you are as a person, I mean, you kind of have to like not care. And, I don't know, like I feel like I've worked with a lot of gay people. Like people in Korea like are very so quick to change their opinion about something just be like on the wave of whatever's going on. Mm-hmm. And so like we can be together and they be like, well, we're talking about guys and stuff like that, but as soon as somebody straight comes around, they're like, but yeah, like totally like, yeah, I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like it's wow. I don't know, it's like I feel bad for them because they can't feel comfortable. Like I remember being like that when I was younger. So it's not like I can sympathize, but also like I'm an adult now and they're also older than me, so I kind of feel like at some point you just have to stop caring. Was it last year? One of the guys I was working with music, he told me that like my boss, wanted me to go with a certain image of me being a ladies' man, and clearly I was like, so you haven't read the signs that I'm gay, so I guess I have to like tell you. And so the producer was like, yeah, but I just want to ask you, like, I don't mean to offend you. And he was like, are you gay? And I was like, yes. And he was like, wow. He was like, wow, I didn't know that. Well, we have to go in a different direction. And I was like, I'm glad somebody realizes something.
What is the difference that you've seen in the gay community and where you guys are as opposed to the gay community in America?
They're both the same. It's just fuckery everywhere.
They literally are the same. Like in Japan, it's like you just swap out typical generic white guy with typical generic Japanese guy, and you have literally the same issues.
Do you feel that the Asian community, the gay Asian community and where you are, is as inclusive to like Americans and like American gay culture? Do you feel like the energies are the same when it comes to like meeting new friends, hanging out, having a good time, or do you feel like it's a little bit exclusive?
If I was white, I would have more gay Asian friends. I'll leave it at that. That's my answer.
That is also my answer.
Oh shit. I feel like when I was in, I mean, mind you, it's been like 6 years. A lot has changed in 6 years. A lot has changed in 6 years. But when I was there, I felt extremely excluded. I remember one time I went out with one of my friends who was from Indonesia. Number one, around that time, I don't know, I was, like I said before, I was still coming into my own, so I felt extremely turned off that he wore makeup, and the makeup he wore was like white makeup, and homie was like very like, he was tan, because he's from Indonesia, so like, he was hella tan, but his face was super white, and then like, whatever, and then we went out, And I remember his one friend thought he was just the baddest bitch because he was half Korean, half Filipino, but he looked more Korean, so that gave him status. And so when we went out, like, I don't know, homie just thought he was just the baddest bitch ever. And I remember going out, I felt so uncomfortable. Like, I felt like everyone was so unapproachable. Everyone went out like they were, like, getting ready for a fucking model shoot. You could smell them a mile away as if they were Arabic. Like, it was wild. And I'm just sitting up here like, oh my gosh, I'm just sitting here, little old me. I'm little old me and up in this bitch, and I'm short as shit. So I'm like, well, you know what? At least I get to dance, bitch. Because that's one thing I love doing, one thing I'm good at. And then we get in there, and, like, no one's dancing. Everyone's kind of, like, with their friends and shit. And I was just like, wait, what? And then you get a female K-pop song on, bitch, it's over. Because it was a dance I didn't know.
The whole dance routine.
They know the whole dance routine. I was so out of whack. What do you wish would change or improve in gay Asian culture?
Cultural things in general, like from like living in Japan aspect, it's just like a lot of people are afraid to talk to you in general just because like they don't know if you can speak Japanese or not. And sometimes it's like, okay, if you can speak Japanese, what's the level? And if it's not like on a native level, they don't really want to fuck with you. But they sometimes will give you a pass on it if you fit mold of like the foreign person that they want to fuck with. Mm-hmm. So that tends to be a thing. But that's just like Japanese life in general as a foreign person. So for me, like, I don't know. I think a lot of people should just realize you're a person of color. We should be in this shit together. We have to deal with a lot of other shit. I don't want to have to worry about like feeling as though I have to worry about you plus these other bitches over here at the same time. Like, I kind of wish that we could just be on the same platform and just like kind of just get it.
I just wish that people would be more no, it's not exclusive. Like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, for me, I feel like it's not that exclusive to just target Asian people when it's kind of like a whole spectrum of just like fuckery going on everywhere in the community. Because, like, anywhere you go, you're going to experience something different. Like, if an Asian person went to America, it'd be harder for them to get acclimated into, like, black and gay... I'm sorry, what the hell? Black gay and white gay culture. Like, if they were going to clubs, like, they'd obviously feel differently if they were going to go to a clubs, or, like, in respect to them going to their own clubs here in Korea.
Can I interject you for 1 second, though? Because I'm going to just say, like... just on that note, though, like, as an Asian person, though, like, going to the U.S. and going to, like, a club and trying, like, find a section to fit into, it's different from, like, us going to a club and finding a spot. Like, even, like, the black gay
true, yeah.
scene is very difficult for us. But for, like, Asian people, they literally will run towards white gays before they will go towards a minority type of gay community. Like, they will literally go for, like, the white savior, white knight kind of ordeal. And that's something that I've noticed. It might not be like 100% true, but what I've noticed, I thought so, but I didn't want to say it.
Well, so okay, nice. So what I experienced, I mean, it was just 1 year, once again. So it was very short. Everything was totally different. I was more of like because where I was at, it was very underground. So everything was super underground. Like, I remember telling my friends, like, that was like we're straight girls, like, oh, that place is like a gay meetup spot, and like, but see, the gay meetup spot wasn't anything sexual. It was just like kind of like where gay people would meet and like go on dates and stuff like that. It's like no, and I'm like, no, seriously, it is. And so I remember like in like Daegu, like they have like, you know, gay cafes. There's like the alleyways where you go ahead and you go to like, you know, gay host clubs, and then like you'll find like, you know, little gay small rikama shacks because they're like super small, and like, you know, you have like the ajumas and ajoshis who will go ahead and run it for these young people because they just want to be able to meet up with their friends. I think the difference that I found was like, you know, if you go out with your friends in Korea, you go out with your friends. You don't meet other people. You might go ahead and dance with someone, because you're drunk enough to do so. And you might even go ahead and give them your kako or your number, but you won't talk to them the day after that. Everyone was very distant when it came down to like togetherness and like a group, like a friend group type situation. Like I felt like when I was there, I was like, I wish me and my friends could be able to meet up with like another group of gay friends and like, make really nice friends. It was not going to happen. That was not going to happen at all. I would want to go ahead and talk to people. They just seemed intimidating. They seemed like they didn't care. They seemed like, if you're a foreigner, and that was the biggest thing that I wish that whether or not someone's a foreigner, I feel like it should still open. People should still be open, especially when it comes down to communicating about experiences, because being gay in Japan, being gay in Korea is different from being gay in America. I know a lot of my friends back when I was there that were just like, I don't want to stay here for the rest of my life because I can't be myself. I've actually met a few trans Korean men who just never wanted to transition because like they were like, I can't do it because if I do, I'm too old. Like I remember there was a guy that I know that I'm still pretty good friends with. He's like in his 40s and like he identifies as trans and he's like, I've known for a while. He was like, but I'm too old now. There's no way that I can be able to go ahead and transition. And that was really upsetting. And then I think I may have told you guys about the guy who I was in a relationship with who was also he identified as trans, but he wanted to have a quote-unquote normal life with a wife and a child and all this other stuff. And then I remember one of my really good friends who, I'm still a little shocked by, but like, I don't know. He came out to me as identifying as trans, but like he's been saying like, he wants to go ahead and live his life in South Korea as a man for right now, until moving to America. He actually came out to his family and everything. His brother, his mom, his dad, they all know that he's gay. That he's trans and that he identifies as a trans person. It was really interesting when he said that he came out to his friends as gay. They were so accepting, but when he came out to them as trans, they were like, I can handle you being gay, but I can't handle you being trans. That's just too much.
Well, then you can't handle me.
Right.
I just feel like the tolerance just needs to be there, because even though there's a lot of difference in, I don't know, there's a difference within like the community. People need to be open to like sharing new experiences, and I understand that there's homogeny in Korea and homogeny in Japan, but like, come on, like they're also very, very mutually like there's multiculturals coming over there a lot. Expats come there all the time, especially in the big cities.
Right. Okay.
I'll say this.
Go ahead. Okay. No, go ahead.
So after having some time to think about it, I will say this. I wish that here in Korea specifically, that people would stop thinking about trends so heavily to the point where they start disregarding everything else that's not a part of the trend. And I wish that instead, or in the Asian community in general, this is very broad now. When the same way you feel when people objectify you, don't keep that energy when you talk to a black person. Because, and I will say this because it's really upsetting when, you feel some type of way when people ask you, oh, are you a bottom? Oh, I want you to be my Asian sub or whatever. Like, it's disrespectful and blah, 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 blah. But when you have the courage to message a black male and be like, I want your BBC, or how big is your dick, or the kind of questions that you think are very flirtatious but are very actually very offensive. Like, you asking about my dick size, like, of course I know, but I know what comes behind your question, right? And I know that you don't ask this question to white guys because you all are so accustomed to being, infatuated by them. And always, not all, like, everybody's not like this, but just always being like as a culture in general, very infatuated with Western meaning white culture.
I really do wish like a lot of Asian people would just stop looking at us as like walking dicks. Like, we're not all walking dicks, and we're not all walking assholes. Like, it's just not a thing. And for me though, like, I just think a lot of people really just need to jump off that whole, like, the white savior narrative. Like, it's just not a thing anymore. Like, it's never been a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. And but they're American, my ass. First off, colonizing people is not a good thing. Can we not go back and look at Black Panther and look at all the shit that they said? Like, yes. Colonizers, bitches. Like, I'm sorry.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the end of the video. I really hope you guys liked it. It took me a really long time to go ahead and get this pulled out. I know that I had advertised it a lot before, but it was because I had a bit of a time with trying to make sure that I cut everything, and then also being able to make ends meet when you're, you know, working during coronavirus. When you're working paycheck by paycheck. Yeah. So anyway, I really loved everything that we talked about today. I know there were a few topics that I think were probably a little sore spots for certain people, but I really do want to know, what are your experiences? My channel is all about my experiences and the things that I go through, but also being able to share experiences with not only just me, but also friends that are of mine, or with you guys who are watching as well. Also, I really want to give a great thanks to both Collin and Jerome for helping me make this video. It was so much fun filming with you guys, and I had an absolute blast. I will go ahead and leave Collin's Instagram name in the bio, and also if Jerome wants someone to follow him on Instagram, I will go ahead and do the exact same thing. Thank you guys so much. So if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, a like. Also go ahead and share it to anyone who you think would also benefit from watching this video, or someone who would just be very interested in learning about it, because I really wanted to go ahead and make sure that I kind of showed my story, but not just my story, me and other people like me. I want to know about your experiences. I want to know about if you are Black, white, Latino, maybe you are Asian yourself and you went to a foreign place and you saw something that was very similar to what we've gone through. Please go ahead and share that with me down in the comment box below. I would really love to go ahead and see that. And also tell me about how you feel with your own stance, you know, after watching this. Whether you're straight, whether you're gay, whether you're trans, bi, I don't know. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below telling me how your experiences have been with your own sexuality and coming a part of your sexuality, no matter what your background is. So like I said before, if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and follow me on my Instagram page. That's the only one I'm really on. I don't really do Twitter, but if you want to go ahead and follow my Twitter, you're more than welcome to follow me at @theofficialmike. I hope you guys liked the video, and I will see you in my next one. See ya!
Up what you leaving for, you know I got the info when it's need to know. I've been on the move since 3 or 4, I can't afford to lose, I reap and sow. Man, I seen the hoes with the soundtrack flow, I don't need them though, I let my nuts hang low for ya. No gold diggers, we the show killers, ain't no slow sippers, we the go getters. 100 proof for that truth, I'm uncouth, I be digging at the roots just to get a little loose.